When I was in elementary school, I lived with my grandparents, my parents, and my younger siblings, 7 of us. One day, my grandmother, who was 68 years old, went to the hospital complaining of physical problems and was diagnosed with cancer. However, due to her age and the fact that she did not have the strength to resist the disease, as well as the fact that she was near the end of her life when it was discovered, she passed away while suffering from the pain of cancer. Before she passed away, my grandmother told us every day like this: "When I die, make sure you visit my grave regularly, otherwise I will miss you." She was wearing an oxygen mask towards the end of her life, so she could not speak much, but even in such a state, she was still appealing for us to do so. My grandmother was sick and in pain, so we felt sorry and responded, "Of course, we will be there." The final scene of my grandmother's death is still burned in my eyes. She took one big breath and never moved again. For some years after my grandmother passed away, we visited her grave several times a year as we had been told to do, and we cleaned her grave frequently. However, after more than a decade, my younger siblings and I left home to live alone in Tokyo. My grandfather had passed away too, and my parents were busy every day because of major changes in our jobs, so visiting my grandmother's grave was a simple matter of visiting only on open period. I am not sure of my memory, but there may have been years when I did not go to visit her grave. It was just as we were talking about how we should make sure to visit the graves properly the next time the whole family gathered. One night, I woke up. I noticed someone standing next to my face. I lived alone, so there was no way someone could be in my room. I was so startled that I tried to sit up, but my arms and legs would not move. I was not psychic, and I had never been in sleep paralysis before, but I could not move at all, as if something was holding me down. I could not make a sound and even breathing was painful. With fear in my heart, I turned my barely moving gaze and saw that it was my grandmother standing next to my pillow. I could not see her clearly because she seemed to be transparent. She was looking down at me from above, her expression dark and sad. She looked as if she wanted to say something, but I was too afraid to move. The time I spent staring at my grandmother seemed like an hour. When I came to, she had disappeared and it was morning, and my body was back to normal. I called my sister, who is the closest to me in age, to tell my family about last night's experience. But she answered she was at the hospital. I asked her what happened, and she told me that she had been in an accident on her way to work in the morning and had been taken to the hospital. Fortunately, the accident was minor enough that she was able to talk with me, but she was going to be in the hospital for a while. When I told her about last night's experience, she told me that she had also dreamed of her grandmother standing by her bedside. My sister and I got goosebumps all over our bodies and we both fell silent. I got a bad feeling about this, so I contacted my parents and brother immediately. But no one in the family is psychic, so no one took our story seriously. Over the next few months, my grandmother stood at the bedside of the entire family and a mishap occurred. My mother and brother were also in a car accident, and my father became ill. My mother's accident was particularly bad, and her car was smashed to pieces and scrapped. The series of unfortunate events finally led everyone in the family to think it might be the punishment for neglecting not only our grandmother, but also our ancestors. It was my mother who had become scared most, because when she stood next to her in the night, she told her in response, "Because I'm busy, it cannot be helped." Since this incident, the whole family decided to visit the grave a few times a year. After that, my grandmother no longer stood by our bedside and no more misfortunes befell our family. Although our family was not a deeply religious, this incident made me realize the importance of respecting and caring for our ancestors and the importance of having family gatherings, even if they are busy,